Ukraine has welcomed Washington's move to sanction Russia's two biggest oil companies ahead of EU talks today on using frozen Russian assets to fund Kyiv. The Ukrainian envoy to the US said that peace could only be achieved through strength. The sanctions targeting Russia's two largest oil companies, Rosneft and Lukoil, are the first direct financial punishment that the Trump administration has imposed on the Kremlin over its invasion. It comes after President Trump said a meeting planned with Russian President Vladimir Putin would be shelved indefinitely. Well, overnight, Russia again carried out strikes on Ukraine. Several civilians were reported to be killed and injured in the capital, Kyiv, and the second largest city of Kharkiv.
Look, these are tremendous sanctions. These are very big. Those are against their two big oil companies, and we hope that they won't be on for long. We hope that the war will be settled. We just answered having to do with the various forms of missiles and everything else that we're looking at, but we don't think that's going to be necessary. We would like to see them just take the line that has been formed over quite a long period of time and go and let's go home. Every time I speak with Vladimir, I have good conversations, and then they don't go anywhere. They just don't go anywhere. So in that sense, but no, look, he's fighting a war. He's in a war. That's two very competent sides, and that's the way war is. You never know with war, but I would say that it's time to make a deal. A lot of people are dying.
Well, at a two-day gathering in Brussels, EU leaders are expected to consider loaning Ukraine more than $160 billion funded by the frozen Russian assets. The idea has been proposed by the bloc's foreign policy chief, Kaja Kallas. Speaking to the BBC's Today programme, she accused Vladimir Putin of trying to play Donald Trump. Here she is.
Well, the work is still ongoing, but we have made a huge step. I think, what is the fundamentals of this is that our taxpayers shouldn't pay for the damages that we haven't caused. It should be Russia who pays for the damages that they are causing in Ukraine. And it is also clear that the assets that have been frozen, that we are not giving them back to Russia before they have paid the damages to Ukraine, and Ukraine needs them now.
But you think we won't be doing another interview with me saying, will it happen? You think it's going to happen?
Well, you never really can say that we are there until we are there. And of course, we are 27 different democracies, and that's why we discuss these things.
Because you know what Donald Trump says, and he was referring, of course, to oil and gas purchases by European countries. They're funding the war against themselves, he says. Who the hell heard of that one? Because the Hungarians are buying 400 million euros worth of oil and gas, the Slovakians 275 million, the French 150 million. Why can't Europe just say stop?
Well, we have said stop, and we have even, really decreased our, purchases of oil and gas like 80%, so a lot from the start. But it's true that we are still buying, and not all of us, but a few countries, also big friends of President Trump. So I hope that he delivers those messages directly as well.
All of this is in the context of what does Donald Trump intend to do. There's a lot of talk about a 12-point plan for peace. Whose plan is it? And do you think Donald Trump will own that plan eventually?
Well, those points have been put forward all the time by the Europeans. I mean, there are a lot of issues like returning the deported children, paying for the reparations, also, the territorial integrity and sovereignty of Ukraine, all these issues. I think we have been very vocal about those topics, and now the big question before any peace plan is really how to put the pressure on Russia to also come to the table and be genuine.
Kaya Kallas there talking to Nick Robinson. Well, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky will be joining European leaders at this summit. We're monitoring the live shot as leaders come to talk to the press. Ukraine will very much on top of the agenda after Zelensky failed to secure that deal for Tomahawk cruise missiles from Donald Trump at their last meeting, which arguably didn't go as well as they had hoped. Let's cross over to our Ukraine correspondent, James Waterhouse, who joins us in Brussels. James, so a lot of anticipation ahead of this meeting as leaders gather. Obviously, the EU always supportive of Zelensky. He's going to really want to hear that support today.
Absolutely. I mean, what the European Union has tried to do time and time again is both pressure Russia to change course in its invasion of Ukraine. I mean, its 19th round of sanctions is going to be announced today, but it's also been trying to push Donald Trump to take more direct action against the Kremlin. And this two-day meeting of EU leaders couldn't have had a better injection of impetus after the US president announced sanctions on Russia's two biggest oil companies. It injects momentum on an agenda that is packed, frankly. It includes housing, migration, online regulation as governments grapple with ongoing challenges. But what strikes you being here is how defence and Ukraine still dominates. We've seen the bloc, as you've heard there, propose a sizable loan for Ukraine, £120 billion worth, to be funded by frozen Russian assets. It's also drawing up its own roadmap where it's going to spend trillions on its own defence to, it says, be ready for a Russian invasion or acts of aggression by 2030. There are a lot of political creases to be ironed out. It's very difficult to get any kind of broad consensus on these increasingly difficult issues. But if you're President Zelensky, who so far has left Washington with nothing, as you say, with the Tomahawk missiles, this is welcome news as his European friends gather around the table today.